What's up, guys? Welcome into Locky Top Sports. It's your co-host Josh. I am here with Naveen, Andrew, Frank, the Iceman. So we got a full house this morning to kind of come at you with a lot of things here, kind of in the football and basketball off season for Tennessee. But the baseballs they've been playing this week, not extremely well. So we'll talk about that. We'll also cover some NHL playoffs. We'll talk about the transfer portal. We've had some guys leaving the men's basketball team to go to other big time programs out there in college basketball. So we'll talk about that. We'll visit the NBA playoff circuit this weekend. Is the running of the ponies up in the coal mine state of Kentucky. So the Kentucky Derby will be going on today. So we'll have some picks. Naveen's going to bring us the best value picks there. I think we got a jam-packed show. So so we'll jump right into it. Baseball's update. Man, it's been a really, really bad week for Tony Vitello and the Vols baseball team. We started our midweek game, feeling probably really confident going into it, after we swept Missouri. There were some hiccups there with the last two games where our offense looked kind of, like it just vanished. The very first game of the Missouri series, we beat them, I think, 10-1. So, offensive explosion that first game, and then we could, barely get out of the single digit of runs in the next two games. So it was kind of foretelling for what was going to happen in the midweek game. We lost to Lipscomb, which is right in the heart of Nashville, and Belmont. I don't know why I got Lipscomb on my mind, but it was Belmont. It was Lipscomb. Man, haven't got the whole cup of coffee in me this morning. So Lipscomb, we took an L to them, 6-9, and then with that, we had a quick turn, had to get on the plane and go down to Gainesville for a Thursday night game, which then got postponed due to a lightning delay and a bunch of storms that were rolling in through the Gainesville area. So then we had a doubleheader yesterday, and come out strong at the beginning of the game, get up big on Florida and kind of battle. We beat them 6-2 in the first game, and then the second game of the doubleheader, we fall to the Gators, who is a really bad team. Florida is a really, really bad team. We have no business losing to them, but we did. We dropped it last night, 3-4, and then we have the rubber match today with the Gators down in Gainesville to determine the winner of the series. So, Andrew, I'm gonna go to you. I know that I'm probably the biggest Vols baseball fan on the chat this morning, but I do want to get your thoughts on, coming out of this series. We go midweek game against Queens at Lindsey Nelson, then we go into Vanderbilt. So, and then we play Belmont. All these damn Nashville teams that we're playing lately have got me a little confused, but here we are. We gotta take care of business tonight. So kind of walk me through what you've been, seeing from your foxhole. Because to me, we really got to get it together going into the Vanderbilt series. So just kind of walk me through what you're seeing.
Yeah, it's it's surprising, right? I remember you saying on the pod maybe a couple of weeks ago that our kryptonite was the first game of the series, and it's just that if we could just win the Friday or the first game of the series, excuse me, and then that's been kind of like the trend we've been seeing. So it's kind of surprised that after winning that first game against Florida, pretty convincing 6-2, that we dropped one. I guess we'll see how the rest of the series is gonna pan out at 1-1. But like you said, the Nashville teams sort of steamrolling, and Vanderbilt's coming up next Friday, right? So it'll be interesting to see. I mean, to me, Vanderbilt's this is like the one sport that they can like talk their shit in, right? Like Vanderbilt and baseball, similar to how Kentucky's only got basketball to sort of hang on to. So, I'd imagine as a Tennessee fan, you just kind of want to make sure that you get the dub against them in their only sport that they can sort of hang their head high in. So it'd be interesting to see what's how we can sort of get the rest of the season going. I mean, like, if I understand correctly, Vanderbilt's not the Vanderbilt of the past. And I'll be honest,
No, they're not.
Vanderbilt.
They're still a top team in the SEC as far as talent goes, but their record isn't.
They're hovering around 500.
Yeah.
So it'll be critical that we go and just take at a minimum series win, if not the complete sweep. Not sure what the issue is right now with Tennessee's baseball team. But that being said, baseball, long season, a lot of games. Even looking at the pro leagues, like you don't see the 73-9 type of dominance or 16-0 in baseball. It's a long season. There's a lot of wear and tear on the players, both the starters, the relief, as well as just for the position players as well, and their cycles. So as long as they can sort of hang on to make sure they win the series, they should, right? Like Florida.
Yeah.
Like, come on. Like, if they lose to Florida, like the series, that'll be, in my opinion, like unexcusable. I know Florida's like under 500 in the conference play, and that's just not acceptable.
Yeah, it'll definitely take Tennessee out of the hunt, I think, for winning the conference if they lose this series, because it's so tight between the top three teams in the SEC right now, between Arkansas, A&M, and Tennessee. So, if Tennessee loses this series, they don't have much wiggle room because, I mean, like I said, they have the midweek game, which, I'm not an alarmist. That was our first midweek game that we'd lost all year. But then we go to Vanderbilt and then Belmont, and then we play. We finish up the season, I think, with South Carolina at home before we go into SEC tournament play. But I would like to get Frank's thoughts as our resident baseball player right now.
Yeah.
Just kind of walk me through like your psychology of baseball when your team is going through a hitting slump, and it looks like Tennessee has been suffering through one for the last 3 or 4 games. And what is it, especially an offensive driven team? What is it that you guys or you specifically on your team and you as a baseball player, what do you kind of do to kind of shake that slump that you're in and try to get the bat alive and start getting some hits out there?
Yeah. I mean, when you look at guys that are in college baseball, right, they're all talented guys. They're playing Division I baseball for a reason. It's because they have the ability, right? They wouldn't be a starter on Tennessee if they didn't have the ability. So when you're slumping, it's really just coming down to like one at bat or one game to really change the flow of things. I can tell you in baseball this year, we lost our first 2 games. We won our last 5 games though. And, really the difference is just the way people are talking to each other, how teammates talk to each other, giving each other confidence in the dugout, and it's not even necessarily like coming down to BP in practice because, you already have the ability, right? It's just a mental thing with baseball. It always is. You see guys like Aaron Judge go through big slumps, one of the most powerful home run hitters in the majors. And these guys get out of their slumps usually in just one game. One game, they just say, oh, I got a pitcher that is only throwing 88 miles an hour instead of 95. Or he's leaving pitches over the plate. And, the difference between like a great hitter, a good hitter, and a bad hitter, which is what Tennessee's kind of struggling with a bit lately, is just hitting the mistakes. If you get ahead in a 2-0 count, should be looking for a really fat pitch to hit over the fence. If you're behind, if you got a 1-2 count on you, you should be a little more defensive. Go the opposite way. Just try to make solid contact with the ball. So I think when you start winning games, you start having higher quality at bats is what it comes down to. So you work the count. You get to 3-1. You get to 3-2. You have the count as a hitter in your favor. Or you're going to smash the first pitch they throw at you. You get something going. So it's really just a psychological thing when it comes down to it, because these guys already have the ability. Everybody in college baseball, everybody in the majors, they already have the ability to do their job. They already have the ability to do it. So changing the tides, as if you want to call it that, is just breaking it down to having higher quality at bats, taking more walks, not striking out as much, putting the ball in play, making the other team make mistakes. And at the end of the day, that's how you win a game 6-4 instead of lose 4-3. So those little at bats that add up.
It sounds so easy.
That's what it comes down to. It's just
there were some things. Yeah, there were definitely some things that I saw last night in the second game of the doubleheader where we had some guys on there. We had the ability there in the top of the ninth to really win the game. We had 2 on with 1 out, and we had our opportunities. The guy was throwing some really bad pitches. The guys that got on was a walk and a hit by pitch. Right. So we only had 1 out at that time, but the out came from a strikeout. And then, it was just bad, swing selection. Like all the pitches, were in on the hands. They weren't playing smart baseball, in my opinion, when it came to, being really deliberate with their approach when they were at the plate. And it looked like all of them just wanted to go up there so bad. And just smash it and be the hero there and win the game with a walk-off. But it was maddening to watch some of the swings last night. But I like the way you kind of summed that up as being more deliberate and smart about your swing selection and then the pitches and make a pitcher throw you good balls. Right. I think that's the biggest part of baseball is making them pitch to you. And I think Tennessee did a really bad job of that yesterday. And we had some other opportunities. We just had some really bad base running. So I hope that the guys went back to the hotel last night and Tony and crew has kind of talked to them about just being better at playing smart baseball, because that's really all it boils down to. I mean, like you said, the talent's there. And definitely Tennessee has a talent. I mean, they're number 3 team in the country, for Christ's sake, right? They have no business losing to Florida. They should have swept this series, which would have put more pressure on the leaders of the conference for the championship race. But got a good one today. Hopefully we can shake it off, win the series, and then move on to the midweek game and then to Vandy. So Naveen, I'm gonna pass it to you. You got anything on the baseballs?
I would say ultimately it's similar to other sports, right? You can do well in regular season. We're number 1 in SEC in baseball, right? Ranking conference wise. But it's about the playoffs. We have some away games coming up, and it's being mentally ready for Vandy, South Carolina games coming up. Not overlooking mid-season opponents or midweek opponents from Nashville. We've not been dealing with them very well.
Yeah, we're not even the state champs of Tennessee right now.
Yeah, we're not doing that well in our own state. So we got to reclaim our state, number 1. Just refocus and make sure we're ready for a long postseason run. Those are pretty much my thoughts about Tennessee college baseball right now. I think it's very similar to how we went about our basketball season, right? Right? It's kind of similar. We're near the top of our conference, or at the top of our conference. We need to make sure that we hold on to the conference title. There's no regular season title, right? Or no?
Yeah, there's a regular season, and then you play the tournament, just like in basketball.
Okay, so we're in a similar spot. I think we should be able to hold on for regular season and make sure we win SEC and hopefully advance further on into Omaha and regionals. The next topic I think we can address is the transfer market. We had two players, basically our two main bigs in basketball, leave the program. Jonas Adu full on snaked us and went to Arkansas. And then, Tobe Awaka signed with Arizona. So, Josh, give me your thoughts here. Like full-time snake. Like, are we going to make snake shirts?
I don't want to. I don't want to be Jonas Adu coming into the Tommy Bowl next year, man. I don't. The transfer portal is what it is, but there's something about that can be said about somebody's character, and the fact that Rick Barnes and his staff does a really good job of doing exit interviews at the end of the season, and we've kind of talked about this I think a couple weeks ago when he first hit the portal. But he told Coach Barnes like he was good. Everything was good. Like he was happy where he was and kind of like his role. But, he jumps in the portal and then boom, there he is going to Arkansas to play for John Calipari. Yeah, that kind of sticks in my craw. But here's the thing, right? Arkansas, they're really happy. They've not been real relevant at basketball in a long time. So I kind of understand, while they're frothing at the mouth about getting Calipari down there, and they think that Jonas Adu is the second coming of fucking Wilt Chamberlain. Well, I hate to tell you, that guy is not going to be who you think he is. I'm not too as emotionally, I guess, upset about the fact that they got him or like they stole him or whatever. I don't feel like that happened. What I do feel like happened was Jonas took his ball and went home and we're into the portal, so to speak, because he knew he really wasn't going to cut it at Tennessee. Tennessee's program, I think, has established itself as a premium program right now in college basketball, and I think that we have the ability to recruit over him. And we saw it. I mean, we put a freshman in the game, JP Estrella. We put a freshman in the game to carry the load that Jonas couldn't carry against Zach Edey in the Elite Eight, right? So that just in itself, to me, like I don't really have any hard feelings there with him wanting to leave, right? But the way that he went about it, that's what really sticks in my craw. Like don't tell somebody that, oh yeah, everything's great, I'm good, and then just like you said, be a snake about it, lie in the weeds and slither around on your belly. And then at the last minute, you come up and you take that bag money from Arkansas and Tyson Chicken and all the boosters out there. So, yeah, man, that's where I have an issue. Good luck to Tobe Awaka. Obviously, he was kind of in the same situation. I kind of like the way that Toby kind of approached the game, but for me, he really didn't do anything to really raise the needle for me. He came in and he gave us, 5 quick fouls. He was really good at that. And, he was aggressive. He was strong. And there's something to be said that Tobe went out west, right? He didn't transfer to a school inside the SEC or a school that we would play. The only time that we would play Arizona potentially next year or the year after is in the NCAA tournament. We don't play them in any of those weird, Big East and SEC Challenge or anything like that, or whatever conference that Arizona is going to be in next year. But that would be the only time that we would see Tobe. So I can live with a player that's going to transfer out and they transfer to a situation like that. So good luck to Tobe Awaka, and for Jonas, let's harvest ACLs.
Andy, any thoughts on the moves? I think at this point we've lost Dalton, Triple J, Santi to just being seniors, being too old. We lost Freddie DeLeon. We lost Awaka.
Freddie, hey, look at Freddie going up to. I think he went to Louisville, right?
He went to Penn State. I think.
Penn State. Yeah, that's what. Penn State. Yeah, it's gonna be cold up there, Freddie.
Lost to Waka, and we lost Adu. Like, what do we think?
I mean, I kind of agree with Josh that I not really gonna miss Awaka's production. Adu, I mean, we really wished him well during the season, and we were all saying we need to see more out of this guy for us to do well, and oftentimes we didn't. He was just a classic, almost like a stat padding big, in a sense that he just could not produce against the legitimate bigs that everyone knows the names of, the Baycots and Edie's of the world, even against like Hunter Dickinson. And I just find it funny that he's going to Arkansas. I mean, perhaps maybe the interactions that he's had with Cal over the years, and then there was something that impressed him. I don't know, but I'm kind of with Josh here that like going to an in conference or in division, whatever, in any other sports as well, it's just kind of like crazy. Like
Henry Toto vibes, Andy. Henry
Right.
Toto vibes.
Yeah, like you have to pick, and like granted, Arkansas isn't like a main rival or anything, but surely there's some sense of rivalry between Coach Cal over the years, with whether it be with Rick Barnes or just in general the fans. So I think that's kind of crazy. Like it's like a Henry Toto or even like Ray Allen, right? Like you're leaving the Celtics, go to the Heat, like your rivals over the years that directly eliminated you. Like yeah, we lost to Kentucky at home. And you're following the guy, who embarrassed you on senior night. Like, so, and then also like, just because like we all wanted so much from him during the season and he just never got there. I mean, sure, when his jumpers fell, like it felt like it was automatic, but he never showed that aggressiveness that it's always scared to like post up. He's always taking that, sort of the just outside of the painted area,
Little drop step,
mid-range.
baby hook, yeah.
Yeah, and like sometimes sure, but like you have this big guy just settling it just and when your team's going through those infamous scoring drought, and when he gets the ball, you're just kind of like, yeah, just like make something happen, right? Like post up, at least try to get a foul shot or something. But instead, he's settling for the jumper and clank. So I'm it's somewhat glad that I don't have to deal with that next year. I mean, good luck to all of them. As I've said multiple times, I'm a proponent of the athletes having to, athletes not having to sort of stick to something, in the day and age where coaches can just abandon a program overnight, like Lane Kiffin. Like I don't see why athletes should be, tied to a contract. Maybe not the way it turned out with the NIL and transfer portal isn't ideal, but compared to the previous world where athletes were often left as the one getting screwed. So again, good luck to them, but I just hope we crush them when we play Arkansas.
I think we will, man. I really think we will. Arkansas's got a long way to go, and when I look at it, like position of need with the bigs, I think we need to pick up one more solid big in the transfer portal. But I mean, we did get that kid from Ohio State, Felix Akpara. So I feel really good about where we're at with him. We got that Hofstra transfer, Darlington Dubar, right? So like we're picking up some key guys, but and then my favorite one of all is the Charlotte transfer, right? He's listed as a forward, but he could play. I think he could play the Jonas position for us, and that's Igor Milicic. Just that name alone, Igor Milicic, just says to me like I'm good down low. You know what I mean? Like I'm a 7-foot monster, and I'm good down low, right? So, and that's what I think he's 6'11". He did really well for the 49ers last year in Charlotte, but One guy that I'm really, really high on that I think we're going to get is Chaz Lanier. If we get Chaz Lanier to kind of shore up our guard spot, because we lost, so many people to graduation, especially Santi. I mean, that Chaz Lanier was shooting 44% from three last year, and I mean, he was average, I think, close to like 20 points a game. So, huge breakout season for him last year. So, it'd be great to get him. No, North Florida, the level of competition down there in North Florida, I think that's the Atlantic Sun or Sunbelt or something. It's not nearly as tough as it is in the SEC, but 44% from three. 44% from three is still 44% from three. And I'll tell you, no one knew who the hell Dalton Connect was a year ago at Northern Colorado, and he was averaging numbers like that. And he came to the SEC and damn near won, the Naismith Player of the Year award. So
yeah, there's one guy I wish Rick Barnes would go after. That's the Nigerian center that Rutgers has. He's supposed to announce his decision, I think, tomorrow, and he's between like North Carolina, Alabama, Georgetown, Kansas, Tennessee. But I think Tennessee's out of the running apparently. But if they can get someone like that just just would box out, rebound, would love that.
Yeah.
So fingers crossed. Hopefully, we don't have to see that guy down in Alabama or something. That'll be annoying as shit.
Fair enough. Yeah, I'd much rather him be on my team than have to play against him. So I like that train of thought. But yeah, so we'll kind of switch gears here. From the transfer portal, and we'll talk about some things here where really reaching the bottom of the sports calendar. Paul's X barrel here, because that's kind of what is going on. Not a lot of things happening in the world of sports, but we still want to talk about some things when it comes to what we enjoy when the sports calendar is at full throat. And one of those is visiting our favorite places and not so favorite places. And we'll talk about the worst college stadiums or arenas we've been to watch Tennessee play, or just, anybody that you've seen, whether it's Tennessee or not, just good or bad. Frank, I'm going to start with you, man. What is the worst atmosphere or stadium that you've been to for a collegiate game, and why?
Well, I could tell you, where I went to school, St. Francis, that might be the worst little building you've ever gone to for like a basketball game.
Is that D3 or what?
It's Division I, AA.
Oh, St. Francis. Okay. D1 AA. Okay.
Yeah. So like they're in the conference with Duquesne and Robert Morris. But like, I went to school there, but it was 200 people maybe can fit in there. So like, it's like my high school was bigger than that place,
Wow. Did they have AC?
For college. Yeah, it's always cold there, right? Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
But that auditorium, like gym, my God, horrible.
Was it just because you were packed in there like sardines, or what?
Yeah.
What was so miserable about it?
You can only sit on one side. You can only sit on like one of the sidelines. But I would say that one just because it rings out to me. Another one, because I'm a hockey guy from New York. The Nassau Coliseum, like the place the Islanders play, they used to jam people in there so literally like sardines, like you said. I remember going to a game like 5 or 6 years ago, and you're literally just on top of each other. Like you go to Madison Square Garden, it's gorgeous, it's very spread out, it's huge. Nassau Coliseum is like stacked everything together. They just jam everybody as tightly together as possible. So it's just, I've gone to games all over the place, but the one I hate for the NHL, the Islanders Stadium, where they played at the Nassau Coliseum. I hated going to games there but it was like 10 minutes from my house. So if they're playing the Rangers, I'm going to go to the game, you know? Those are probably, you know, the two in my mind that stand out right away. And I'd throw a favorite in there, and that's the Garden. Nothing beats that.
The Boston Garden. I like that place too, man.
No, stop it. Madison Square Garden, man. I've probably been to 200 games at Madison Square Garden.
Oh, Madison Square. Okay.
Madison Square Garden. Yeah, that's easily my favorite.
Yeah, man.
Well, Andy, go ahead, man. Looks like you're in the Garden right now. So just let's hear your worst college stadium experiences that you've been to.
So I've been to, I don't know, maybe 10, 12 or so different college stadiums. And, you know, I'm going to tier it just because I feel like it's not fair to compare, you know, like the big premier programs versus like the smaller, you know, so for example, like I've been to FAU Stadium when Lane Kiffin was there, and you know, I feel like you can't really compare that to, you know, something like 100,000, you know, capacity stadium. But you know, it has its own perks, pros and cons. You know, very nice, very well maintained. The infrastructure is great, but then again, it looks like a high school stadium, right? So, all being said, I think Texas was probably the worst stadium of the like the D1 and the Power 5 conference. And I say that because you know, the way I know it's like capacity, sure, it's great, like, you know, 100-some thousand people, and realistically, what stadium in the SEC doesn't have, you know, 90,000+ seats other than like Vanderbilt? So just kind of like thinking about the infrastructure around the stadium. And what I'm looking for is, you know, how easy is it for someone to come visit the stadium? You know, have like a nice tailgating setup, and also the post game. Like, you know, when I leave the stadium, how easy is it to get to the area where it's popping? You know, where is the stadium located in the grand scheme of things within the city? You know, how scenic is it? Is there like, you know, as you're going through it, you know, does it look nice? Also, like, you know, what's like the bathroom or concession stand situation like? And I think like Texas was probably the worst experience for me. And then I'm not just saying that because it was hot. Like, I've been to games down in Louisiana. I've been to games down in you know, Gainesville, Florida, in the blazing September sun.
Andy, are you talking about the football stadium?
Football stadium, yes.
Yeah, I've been to a few games. It's kind of rough. It gets hot. I mean, if you're in the upper deck, you're going to be sweating bullets, man.
Right, and the way they
Naveen, so tell your cousin his stadium.
Yeah, way they designed it also, like the way they put the upper decks up there, and you know, it doesn't really get loud. Like, I was rather like, you know, not impressed with like how the sound, you know, of the crowd doesn't really, you know, it doesn't really fire you up. And I think it has to do with the construction of the stadium, where the noise kind of bleeds through that like one side where the players come out and there's nothing blocking it. So I think the sound escapes. And it's also funny to see now they have that big horn logo, and the players come out of that. It's like a fallopian uterus.
Yeah,
it looks like a uterus. It's like a uterus of Texas. Woo! So
yeah,
I'm gonna say Texas is the worst. Best, I think, is I think it has to be a toss up between Florida and Georgia. Georgia for the fact that again, the pregame tailgating and the postgame, like the bar area, ease of access and all that, I think was rather impressive. I also thought the police and the campus security sort of directing the traffic and ensuring that, you know, logistically, like, you know, everything sort of flows through. Like, I'm very like OCD about, you know, logistics and things like that. So when I see something, when I see an event that's like just well organized, it always impresses me. In Florida, beautiful campus, a lot of like good places to tailgate all around campus. And you know, even though the my personal experience with the result of the game hasn't been pleasant, I thought just the overall infrastructure, like the amount of bathrooms situated all over lower and upper deck, the concession stands, how fast the lines move, again, it all has to do with the infrastructure. And ultimately, like, what makes an experience the worst, as a fan, outside of the result of the game, is that when you just, like, try to go to a bathroom or something, and there's just a miserable amount of lines, even concession stands, you're trying to get to, like, grab a hot dog or a beer or something, and it's like a 20-minute wait, right? And all it takes is just a little bit of organization, and I thought those two stadiums done a pretty good job. And I'm gonna take Tennessee out of my own bias from this list. I think Tennessee is like in the middle of the pack. Like beautiful, like scenic with the rivers and all. And there's plenty of goods. I also think they could do a little bit better job with the infrastructure. But I'm if I understand it correctly, they're going through renovation right now. So hopefully we'll get to see what the newly renovated, like, bathroom and all of those things look like. Yeah.
Naveen, hit me, man. What's your worst?
The most uncomfortable experience I've ever had watching a sporting event was Ohio State at Michigan, the Big House. You had, like, the game itself, the atmosphere was sick, right? This is the Harbaugh's first one of the three that he was winning. What is it, 2021, Andy?
21.
Snowstorm day in the game. That was sick. Elements are there, but you could not sit in the seat. Everybody
Packed in, huh?
around you was standing on the bleacher. So one, they could not control the amount of people at the stadium, and that's like a safety
Oh,
risk.
right, I forgot about that.
So, like, at the time I was probably close to 300 pounds, and I was pushing people out of the way to get my ticket scanned, and that's pretty much how our group was able to get into the stadium. Then
I had my lead blocker, Naveen.
People were like pushing security gates. I didn't even dream about going to the bathroom. Like, that was just a pipe dream. Like,
Well, when it's cold like that, just piss yourself, man. That's fine.
dude, but you couldn't. It would take, like,
Warm yourself up.
You could piss yourself, but it would probably take you 45 minutes to get back to the seat if you left. So that was tough. And also, adjusting to logistics. I also have the same, I guess, kind of situation as Andy. Like, we had to walk back to our hotel probably 3 or 4 miles. That's okay. But, like, I
In a blizzard.
couldn't imagine driving there. That entire city was shut down. Kind of similar to what we felt at LSU. Like, you drive down one street, police block it away.
Fuck, dude. Like, getting back to the Airbnb after the LSU game was nonsense.
That was ridiculous.
Like, we just walked forever. And it was hot.
That's really the infrastructure of the town, right? Because there's only one road leading to the stadium.
Yeah. And
I mean, Baton Rouge probably isn't known for its engineering marvels down there at their school. So, it checks out.
So that's also part of it, right? Even Ann Arbor, right? Relatively rich place. Like, I think it's just crowded with so many people over its normal population. It cannot handle those things.
Right.
Low key one that was really good, I would say, was Oregon Autzen Stadium. It's only 60,000 people, so it's, again, like one of the smaller stadiums I've been to. But the way that sound travels in there was awesome. Also 420 friendly inside. I don't know how they do it.
It's the P&W, cool, bro. It's the P&W.
So that was also a good option. I would say.
Naveen, question for you on the stadium. I've heard that with Autzen, like, it really feels like you are super close to the playing surface. Is that true?
Yeah, definitely true. I would say that another cool thing about it is that it's basically you have to. It's in the woods behind the campus, so you're like everybody going
hike.
to not really a hike, but like
Stroll.
we're walking through the
Scenic?
wood. Yeah, a little bit of a scenic trail to the stadium. That's very cool. No other place really I've seen
Right.
had that. I would say those are my list. How about you, Josh?
Oh man, worst college stadium, and this is a shout out to you, Chase Cox. Fucking Willie Bryce, baby. Fuck that place. It is the biggest fucking shithole in the world. I've been there for a few games, but definitely my last experience there, bar none, was probably one of the worst. Basically, for the result that happened. But it is the most annoying environment you can go to with that dumbass Gamecock that they have going through their loudspeakers.
Sandstorm.
Sandstorm. Yeah, they play that shit nonstop. Their concession stands ass. Getting into the stadium's ass. Like you're just standing out there forever waiting to get in. And I mean, even that game, like most of the South Carolina fans, talking about the 2022 game, like they didn't think that they had a shot of beating us, which, if they weren't cheating and didn't have our plays on their little wristbands, thanks to, our boy from Michigan, Connor Stallions, that would have never happened. But, it was just that it wasn't at full throat. Like there wasn't a sellout for that game. And it still took too damn long to get into that place. So they really, going back to you guys talking about the logistics of it, terrible, terrible, terrible. Almost as bad as last year's trip to Gainesville, where people were literally chanting "Let us in," because they could not get us into the swamp quick enough. I mean, I watched the flyover happen while I was standing in line, and I was at the gate literally 45 minutes before kickoff. Like that's unsat, So South Carolina is my number one for all of the things that I mentioned. Their stupid rooster, their concession stand line sucking, and the food in the line sucking. I mean, if you go to Neyland, you got smoky dogs, you got fresh popcorn, you got all the great stuff, right? That comes with all the amenities that you would want in a stadium, right? Not trying to be too homer there, right? But definitely, Columbia, USC, you guys got to step the culinary game up there in your concession stand. I mean, they had stale, nasty old Little Caesars personal pan pizzas. So it's one thing to have personal pan pizza. I mean, the good dignified people at Neyland, they have Papa John's. Like you can't go wrong with Papa, baby, right? As far as a personal pan goes. But when you really break it down, and this just speaks volumes about the type of people that are USC fans and the type of school, they have to furnish their patrons with Little Caesars hot and ready's, right? Personal pans. So we all know poverty programs do poverty things, but Jesus Christ, like let's class it up a little bit. You are an SEC school, have some dignity about yourself. But Naveen, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead, man.
Didn't you guys go to like Mississippi State or something like that?
I've not personally been to Mississippi State yet. I mean, that is on the list of places to go. I would imagine with all those damn cowbells constantly ringing, it would be a nuisance. But nothing comes close to that stupid rooster, man. And the sandstorm and the white flags waving. Yeah. It is an environment that is so cringe. Like it's not even cool. It is just like cringe. The whole entrance with the rooster. I mean, I don't know how PETA's not gotten involved with the animal cruelty that's going on with that poor animal out there. But anyway, South Carolina by far is my worst experience and stadium that I think is pretty bad. I mean, I could say Vanderbilt, but at least Vanderbilt had decent amenities. They didn't have anybody there, so that's kind of, you know, when we look at the bell curve and skewing the logic there, you kind of got to throw that out because, you know, there was me and 17 other Tennessee fans there, right? So
it's kind of nicer when it's emptier. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, man, like you don't have to, you buy a ticket, but nobody cares. You know, you go sit where you want. Whenever you want to go piss, no lines to the bathroom. Yeah, man,
it's a private
really
party.
Cool. It really was. It was like a private viewing of a baby seal clubbing, you know, of Tennessee just destroying Candy like we always do. You know, shout out to their band. They didn't even know how to spell Vandy correctly, and they just spelled it Andy. So shout out to you, Andy. They were playing for you. But yeah, man, you can't. Vandy's such low hanging fruit. You could dunk on them for their football stadium. I mean, didn't they have half of their stadium roped off last year, like during the season, because they were trying to do some construction work on it. It was terrible to see. But anyway, South Carolina worst in the SEC, and then probably one of my favorite ones, and this is kind of begrudging to say, even though we emptied that place out and we packed it with Tennessee fans, I'd have to say LSU. Death Valley was a really cool experience. I like their stadium. I would say it's kind of like Neyland Light, or maybe Neyland South. We could call it that, because we kind of took over that trap and you know, did what we did. We walked in and made a ham sandwich and threw the cheese wrapper on the floor on our way out. So it was a cool party to be at. But like the acoustics, everything else, the pregame, I really like Death Valley in the way that they put it on. I do hate, like you said, kind of the walk back on the logistics side. But hey, when I needed a beer, I had a beer. They had a beer guy walking around. They came to you. You didn't have to go to them. So that was something that I really enjoyed about Death Valley. Their
same with Florida. They also had the little beer girl walking around.
Yeah, pissers were great. Not a lot of long lines. But yeah, man. So Death Valley probably my favorite in the SEC outside of, you know, Lord Neyland's palace.
Yeah,
on the river.
There was those the sections weren't like sometimes you had to go all the way up. There's no way to get up the different levels of the stadium without walking on that staircase on the outside. That's one thing I would say about the LSU stadium. And they had those sections within a floor that you can't go across.
Yeah.
Just going to the bathroom and getting beer was easy, but like, let's say, you know, you need to find someone, not that easy.
Yeah, it probably wouldn't as easy. Yeah.
But surprisingly, they had those like just as soon as you enter that tunnel, it's like bathroom on the left, and those beer fridges on the right. And I was just like mind blown by that simplicity.
Yeah, I was literally taking a leak right beside Smokey. Right, so Smoke, you know, the mascot, you know, he went in there, took his hat off, you know, and I was taking a leak there in the urinal besides Headless Smokey. But it was very easy right there in the tunnel to, like you said, Andy, pisser on one side, concession stands right there. So shout out to the Bayou people down there in Southern Louisiana for getting that right. I didn't think that they would have enough brain cells to put together to make something so effortless, but they did. They just didn't show up on the football field that day. So shout out to them. Go Tigers.
Good Tigers.
All right, cool. We can now transition to NBA playoffs. Andy, I'll let you kind of lead this segment. What are your thoughts?
Wolves, let's go. Let's go T-Wolves.
Huge game one coming up tonight. Every other series is like, I don't know, weeks away. It's the NBA, so you never know when this shit is going to start or end. So any thoughts, Andy?
Yeah, you know, one thing I would say about this NBA playoffs is for me personally, it felt like watching the playoffs in like 2012 when the KD, Westbrook, Harden upset the Lakers, and they also
They
ran
killed the
through the
dynasty.
West. Yeah, like it's just kind of like when you look back at it, maybe at the time
Changing
you
of
don't
the
think about
guard.
it, right? You
Yeah.
don't think about it because you're like, okay, well, we're gonna run it back next year. But now you look at it, Steph Curry's been in Cancun. LeBron just joined them. KD, maybe he's a little cool, so he's maybe in Cabo. But point being,
No, he went to
they're not.
No,
he went to Cancun like 7 hours after the thing, after he got eliminated.
Yeah, so like those three perennial basically dominated the playoff scene, and that streak is over, right? So like when you hear these like, oh, between like 1992 and 2018 there's been one of Jordan, Shaq, Kobe, Duncan, LeBron in the finals or some shit like that. It's over, and maybe it's time that we throw one of the new superstars into that mix. But it seems like we're truly going through that phase. And what is interesting is that it took so long because we're living that modern sports science and medicine development era where even looking at football, right? Like Tom Brady was playing into his 40s. LeBron is 38, and if you just look at the numbers, he's still producing. His like averages are better than anyone who's played the game at his age from top 2 to top 5 combined. He's averaging like 29 points per game or whatever. So it seems crazy that what felt like we should have seen a lot earlier is just now happening. But that being said, the young players are, coming. Like you see, obviously Jokic won the ring last year. He's about to be a 3-time MVP. And then you have guys like Shai, Anthony Edwards. Those guys are sort of making their marks. You have the little bit older, but still in their prime, like Jalen Brunson or Luka Doncic, who's been around, just eliminated the Clippers. So it's truly an exciting time, especially if you're tired of seeing the same face over and over and over in Curry and LeBron. Those days are gone. And then now looking at, the Timberwolves finally sweeping a team for the first time in forever into the second round. And I honestly think they're gonna beat the Nuggets. Look, Nuggets did not look as
Oh shit! Is
invincible.
that a prediction or a spoiler, Andrew?
It's more of a statement.
It's
It's a spoiler.
Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, look.
Wolves, baby. Let's go, Naveen. Get up.
Yeah,
Let's go.
what the Wolves have done in terms of the roster construction, and I think it got ridiculed at the time, but they chose to go with size, what seems like a counterintuitive thing to do in today's NBA with spacing. But at the end of the day, like the word small ball, I think confuses a lot of people. But if you have athletic, tall, lanky motherfuckers that can switch positions, at the end of the day, it's a height game, right? And
Naz Reid, baby, Naz Reid, let's go.
Yeah, Naz Reid, the 6th man of the year. So T-Wolves have a really solid construction, and they have the guy, Anthony motherfucking Edwards. So he looks like you guys see Stephen A. Smith ranting about it. There was Michael, there was Kobe Bean Bryant, and there is Anthony Edwards. Hey, I can't disagree with him. He's got the mentality.
I don't agree with Stephen A. a lot, but on this topic, I definitely do, and I like where he is inserting Anthony Edwards with no mention of LeBron, who's hanging out in Galveston, Texas, right now.
Yeah, or even Curry, right? Like, I feel like Curry, as great as he is,
Curry's the greatest shooter of all time. He's not the greatest player. He's not the greatest player.
Not even top 20. Come on.
Not even close. Greatest shooter ever, but not best player.
Yeah. I mean, I think Steph Curry is something like his percentages on the go-ahead shot in the playoffs is like 1 for 11 or something like that. For the greatest shooter ever, that is a crime. He's not shown that he could really take the team on his own unless he has the, Clay and Draymond next to him. or Kevin Durant. But besides the point, I like how Anthony Edwards just talking shit out there. He's just dunking on people, dropping mid-range, fadeaway, just talking shit to KD, doing the Ronaldo
That was my
X
favorite part.
celebration.
That
Love
was
it.
my favorite part is the suck it.
Yeah, love it.
Channeling his inner heartbreak kid and Triple H, the cerebral assassin. That's what Anthony Edwards is. He's a cerebral assassin out there. Just, you don't like it, we got 2 words for you. Suck it.
Yep, the BD Edwards. So I like that. I do think it's gonna be Mavs versus
T-Wolves
in
Let's
the
go.
Western Conference. On the East, obviously, you have the Knicks versus Pacers and Celtics versus the winner of Cavs and Magic. So hopefully we get Celtics versus Knicks conference finals. I think that'll be toxic. That's the energy that I'm waiting for. I'm not as worried about the Pacers, to be honest.
You think the Knicks are gonna go to the finals, Andy?
I don't know about the finals. We'll have to see. But I do think over Pacers, it's probably Knicks in 5 there. That's my prediction. And I'm gonna go out on 7th Avenue and raise hell when they get to the conference finals. I have not yet, but I feel like, I don't know. It's like a first round win. I'm not gonna, it's not worthy going out there and going ham. But maybe if they get to the conference finals, I'll walk a couple blocks and join the madness on the 7th Avenue. Funny story about Knicks. So I'm going to the Garden tonight, not for basketball, but for a comedy show. And
who you
scheduling
seeing?
worked out. Andrew Schultz.
Okay.
Scheduling worked out so that on Thursday, if the Knicks did not beat the Sixers, then Game 7 would have been tonight, and this show would have been pushed out indefinitely. So I was like, oh, shit. So I was very, very heavily invested watching this. And they go up by 20 in the first quarter. It's like, all right, that's a lock. It's pre-mying a little bit. And then I went to take a leak, went to grab a beer, come back and sit down. They're losing by 10. I was like, what the hell just happened in 5 minutes? But from there, I mean, I guess maybe it's the whole, Tibbs sort of coaching, philosophy. He had DiVincenzo out there playing basically 47 minutes. Josh Hart 45 minutes. But man, these guys just fucking grind it out. And as much of a cliche as it is to hear nowadays about these Villanova kids, the trio, they look really good. They hustle. They are out there diving for the loose ball, grabbing offensive rebounds. Josh Hart's out there grabbing 12 rebounds per game. It's pretty impressive. So I do like the Knicks to advance, and ultimately, I think they can beat the Celtics. I mean, Celtics are known to choke. I mean, on paper, they're always the favorites. They should have been the favorites for the last 5 years, but they keep losing to Miami. And unfortunately, Miami wasn't full strength to take them out this year, but I do think the Knicks can take them out. So let's hope Knicks and Rangers both make it to the to the finals, and this city will burn down. And if that happens, I will go out there and do a quick live and make some content for you guys to see.
Hold on. We're not skipping straight to NHL, okay? Because we just spent a segment talking about the NBA least.
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care.
We don't care about the East.
Jerry.
All right. So what I do want to talk about and give somebody the opportunity to take a victory lap is our resident T-Wolves fan, Naveen. How you feeling, bro? I told you for the last 2 weeks what was going to play out and what was going to happen. And I'm glad that Andrew's bringing the energy in here, today with shouting out the T-Wolves. I mean, I know he's in New York, so he's got to placate to the East Coasters out there, and Frankie's on here, so we're going to talk Ranger stuff. We're going to talk Knicks, whatever. New York, it's been a while, so we know why you guys are feeling the way you're feeling. But Naveen,
Yep.
hit me with your best take on your T-Wolves. What's going to happen, man? How are you feeling? Are you feeling more confident going into the second round?
I think we finally have the roster to beat the Nuggets with all the big men that we do have. We have 3 like pretty good 7-footers. And that should be enough to kind of slow down Jokic. I don't think we're going to stop him. And I don't think it's like a naive kind of concept to like think that, okay, we're going to shut down Jokic. I do think that we do struggle kind of on the road in Denver. So one of my best bets is actually Nuggets -4.5 today, because they're going to
buying the win here, huh?
Yeah, I think that we'll be able to take care of stuff at home, and I think this series will get to 6 or 7 games. But today, I think that we'll
It's
lose.
going 7. It's going 7, big dog.
I think so. And I do think that whoever wins this series wins the NBA championship. So that's my call. I would say if it's Nuggets, it's going to be Nuggets lifting the cup. If it's if it's Wolves, it's going to be Wolves. But incredibly awesome to be like, top of mind sweeping people. We've never swept anybody in the playoffs.
Top of mind.
Yeah, dude.
Like that.
Yeah, dude.
Like KJP, huh?
Yeah, I think that it's been like 20 years since we're like relevant. It's been so much time of Andy shitting on me, consistently shitting on me for being a Wolves fan. Finally, fucking Lakers are done.
Calm down. Calm down. All right. First of all, the Lakers have been done since Kobe retired. Well, let's just be honest. Or, to go back to Andy's take, they've probably been done since Andrew Bynum shit himself in 2012 and fucked us in that series, right? That'd probably be pretty accurate, right, Andrew? Because we all know the Achilles tear happened the next fucking year, and then it just blew up.
Yeah.
But yeah. To your point, Naveen, yes, the Lakers have been dead. No reason to dig that shit back up and then rebury them, okay?
No, I think they're gonna hire JJ Redick. Like, I think this whole like LeBron podcast shit is a scam.
It is, but unfortunately, JJ, I think he's done really good on the podcast, right? So it's gonna be kind of sad to see him go. The podcast will go away, and now
LeBron GM is not as good as LeBron player. So we'll see that. Either way, like
Bronny James, is he gonna get drafted by the Lakers? And see, this is why I can't be a Lakers fan no more.
No, dude, it's all drama.
Nah, it's not happening.
I think LeBron says he's gonna leave. But for right now, fuck the Lakers, right? Like, they're not in it. Wolves are in it. We have
let's go Wolves, baby. Let's go one more time.
We shat the bed so hard finishing in third. Because we have to play the Nuggets now. That was retarded. Honestly, that was so bad. But if we come out victorious here, like, dude, who's gonna like really cause us a challenge? Like, you just play the best 2 teams.
Like Kanye said, who's gonna stop us now? Watch the throne, big dog.
Exactly. So if we advance,
don't let me get into my zone, baby.
Yeah,
that's right.
Advance first Nuggets, it's over. It's a wrap.
Hey, real quick, but while we're on this, we're talking about Kanye and some rap. Who's winning the rap battle between K-Dot and Drizzy?
Oh, it's over. Meet the Grams. I'm not sure if you listen to the entire Meet the Grams. I would suggest that everybody do that.
Is it is it OVO season, baby? Is it OVO season?
Dude, it's OVO's dead. Drake's kind of like the Lakers. Like, he better go to the top. I would really suggest listening to Meet the Grams by Kendrick Lamar. That was a savage, like, 90s level attack on Drake. And then Drake came out with like a response. It was okay.
Family Matters? Is that what it was?
I
Family
think
Matters
so.
or something like that.
Yeah. I think so.
But it has people talking about hip hop again, which I think all of us here are fans of hip hop in the hip hop community. So it's cool to kind of see some battles going back and forth. Kind of reminds you of the old school days with Biggie and Tupac.
It's old school NBA and it's old school rap battles now. So that's great. I think that's awesome. All right, Josh, your thoughts in the playoff, or should we go?
Baby, let's go T-Wolves. It's gonna go 7 games. T-Wolves going all the way to the chip. They lifted, baby, and nobody gives a shit about the NBA least. They got to send somebody out there to for the culling that's going to happen by any West team that plays in the finals. Frankie, I'm gonna just go ahead and pass to you real fast before we go over to NHL. But you think your Knicks get it done, and then who's going to be the tribute offered up to whatever machine comes out of the West?
Yeah, I was looking. The last time the Rangers won the Cup, 1994. A lot of the stars are kind of aligning this year.
Stop
for them to hoist it again. But I'll tell you, the Knicks, same year, I think they played in the Eastern Conference Finals, right?
And then they ran into
Rockets.
And they lost.
The Rockets. Yeah, because that's when Michael was playing fucking baseball, right?
Yeah. So I think the Knicks are going to get through this next round, advance to the next round, and then lose the round after. That would be my call on that.
Oakley's not walking through that fucking door, bro.
Yeah, I don't think the Knicks are going to win. Not hoisting it up at the end, but I think they win the next round, lose after, and that's about it with them. I wish I could say they're going all the way, but hey, it's the Knicks. The playoffs though, NHL. So I'll start with the New York Rangers here. They got a big time matchup in the second round. So these two teams, the Rangers and the Hurricanes, they were basically in my mind, like in January, to be favorites to win the Cup. Both teams. I thought both of these teams were the top two. It's primarily because the Hurricanes play a very trappy defense. They just don't let you get to the front of the net and score goals. You have to shoot everything from the outside. You have to kind of like pepper the goalie and bang some rebounds in. It's a very tough team to play against. The Rangers on the other side, they have a great offensive team this year. They're, my pick to win the Cup, not just from being a Rangers fan. I just see a complete hockey team. Every line's producing. Every single line scored a goal last round. I think they had like at least 10 guys or something like that score a goal. So, you have a complete hockey team. You need depth scoring in the playoffs. You need a healthy team. Rangers are healthy. They have depth scoring and great goaltending and a quality backup if they need him. A guy that played for the Cup a few years back and quick to back up Igor in goal. So, the Rangers have all the fundamental tools where I've seen in the past make a run. They're the favorite by far, I think, to win the Cup right now. But with that being said, this series is probably
Hurricanes aren't a slouch. It's going to be a tough series, man.
This isn't a sweep by any means. This is
how many games?
I think 6 games. I think it's 4-2 Rangers this series. I don't think it's a sweep. I don't think it's 5 games. The Hurricanes are gonna win a game. At least 1 game, maybe 2 games. And if the Rangers get past the Hurricanes, I mean, they got a clear shot at the Cup. I mean, it's just crystal clear. Other than that, there's a couple game 7s going on. Huge matchup for the first round. Maple Leafs Bruins. Can't believe those two teams are playing in the first round. They're both powerhouse teams. So the Bruins are at home for game 7. You never bet against the Bruins at home, kind of just like you never bet against Las Vegas, the Knights at home. So, another pick of mine is going to be the Bruins winning game 7 against the Maple Leafs, sending Austin Matthews home. I do think it's a 3-2 game. It's going to be extremely tight. I don't see an over coming in there either. So if you're looking at game 7 Bruins Leafs, I think under, and I think Bruins. I think it's like -150 Bruins. Another one that's surprising to me very, very surprising that it's Game 7, is Dallas Stars Vegas Knights. Vegas really wasn't supposed to be that good this year. The Stars, I think they had 1 point less than the Rangers in the regular season. Like they a few months ago were also one of my picks to win the Cup. So I'm pretty shocked that the Stars haven't taken care of Vegas yet. So with that being said, I think Vegas is going to beat them in Game 7. I think Vegas is going to win like a 4-2 game for Game 7. So that's a little upset for you guys. I think the Vegas Knights take care of the Stars. Hate to say it, being the only Texas hockey team, but they're just not playing great. Stars played a hell of a regular season. They're not really looking too good in the playoffs. They're pretty shaky. They have some weaknesses that are getting exploited. So if Vegas comes ready, they score basically they score like back to back pretty quick, pretty often. So like Vegas goes up 1-0. Most of the time they'll just like bang another goal in the next 30 seconds. It's a very weird thing to watch. So like the first period in that game is going to be whoever wins the game is the team that scores first, I think, with the Vegas Stars game. I think Vegas is going to come out and score too. So that's an upset for you. Looking around to the rest of the stuff, I don't really like any of the other teams to make a run. I think, Boston and Toronto, those are really tough teams. But I think Boston is a team to watch. Hurricanes, I would have said they're a team to watch, but they're playing the Rangers. So you're looking at a long series, grind it out. This is like when you win a cup, like when the Rangers win the cup this year. This series is the one that defines them. They beat up on the Hurricanes. I mean, look out. They're just too tough. So if you see the Rangers put up like a 5 spot, in one of the games as far as goals, or even 4 goals, which is kind of stretching it with how good the Hurricanes defense is. It's one of those series you look back at and you say, hey, I won this tough series against the Hurricanes. We can beat them. We can beat anybody, the way I kind of look at it.
A confidence booster, right?
This is one of those series where like Hurricanes, Rangers, either team could play for the Cup. They're both that good, but the Rangers have an edge.
Wolves Nuggets, basically. Whoever wins goes all the way.
Yeah, it's a big time. It's the one to watch, really. It's the biggest playoff matchup for the second round. I mean, both teams could easily play for the Cup. They're both that good, but the Rangers have more depth scoring than the Hurricanes, and that's going to give them the edge and push them through. So that's what I'm looking at for the NHL. I know I'm a Rangers fan and I'm biased, but if this isn't their year, I don't know when the year is, because they have 2 solid goalies, solid defense, depth scoring. They got a guy that beats the hell out of people in Rempe. I don't know if you guys have been watching him, but he's 7 feet tall and just gets in a fight every game, which is kind of fun to watch. It's like old school hockey.
Yeah, that would be fun, watching a 7-foot giant just beat the shit out of people.
It's incredible.
I'd tune in for that. Yeah, absolutely.
It's incredible. And also a lot of the the Illuminati sports stuff, they want to see that guy on the ice. So you're going to see some calls go the Rangers' way against the Hurricanes. You might see Rempe drill somebody, the guy retaliate and get a 5-minute misconduct, and the Rangers score 2 goals and win the game. You never know. It seems like it's been seeming like that all year for me for the Rangers, but more so now than ever. It's one of those spots where they get past the Hurricanes, they're going to do it. There's nobody else there that's as good. So it's a big test.
All right, cool. So there you have it. NHL kind of putting a bow on it there, Frank. Appreciate it. Sounds like the resident Rangers fan has the Rangers winning the Stanley Cup. So
hey, take it easy.
pile on her.
No different than a resident Tennessee fan always picking Tennessee.
We're all resident Tennessee fans. So what are we talking about? Next slide. This segment is being presented to you by Woodford Reserve. Woodford Reserve will be the sponsor for this next segment, the Kentucky Derby. So real quick, I'm going to pass it over to Naveen. We got some ponies that will be, rolling up our newspapers and shouting at the TV and slapping it into our hands, telling those beasts to run, and run they will. Naveen, walk us through some of your top value picks here for the Kentucky Derby, and who we're going to have hopefully making some of our listeners some money later today.
Cool. Yeah. So we kind of got a 2-horse race for favorites this year. We got Fierceness, who's like the consensus #1 pick, and Sierra Leone. They both have very similar odds right now. I would favor Sierra Leone here, just because everybody is telling you to bet Fierceness. So, just like, NFL or any other sports betting kind of thing, if 9 out of 10 people tell you to do one thing, you got to fade them, do the opposite. Some value picks. I like Forever Young plus 800 and Honor Marie plus 1600. I'm not going to pretend to tell you the rationale behind my picks, because I don't have one. I don't think this is like
I go with the most badass name when I'm betting the Kentucky Derby.
Yeah, another thing I like to do, honestly, is watch a little bit of the pregame.
Epic Ride 30-1, but fuck, Epic Ride sounds pretty majestic. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, if any of the horses are gray or have any kind of weird marking on them, I'd go with that. One thing I didn't know is a lot of these horses have the exact same birthday, either January 1st or May 1st.
Coincidence, huh?
No, I think they actually do that on purpose to track, who are the horses going to be in the field for exact time. You have to be 3 years old. Again, this is a 1.5 miles. It takes 2 minutes. It's one of those things. It's I never really understood people going ham and trying to go to the Kentucky Derby and get dressed up and all those things for 2 minutes.
You got to rock your best Vineyard Vons outfit there, man. It's the who's who of Kentucky aristocrats, right? So
yeah, it's basically white people go crazy for this shit, and it's their Olympics.
Is that what falls under white people shit? Is the Kentucky Derby is definitely a white people shit category?
That's a top contender for top.
Yeah, which is funny because it's in Kentucky. You wouldn't think the coal miners and the fancy dressed up shit coexist, but
I would bet, since this is a show that talks about betting, I would bet 60% of the Kentucky Derby is made up of non-Kentuckians.
Yeah,
probably higher.
Probably higher.
The horse people and the rich people tend to be white. You see some Arab people there.
Here we go.
They're they're the.
Let's not get canceled, okay? Let's not get shadow banned on YouTube, guys. Okay, calm down.
Just saying.
Do you guys have a list of
you're talking about white people? I think it's fair. You can say whatever the fuck you want. So go ahead.
Okay.
I was gonna say I haven't looked at all the names in the Derby. Do you have somebody that's 25 or 30-1?
Yeah. So Mystic,
I think
Dan, that's plus 22-1. Domestic
password. Yeah.
Yep. TO password is plus it's 45-1. Domestic product is 25-1, etc.
That's the one right there. Domestic product.
Track Phantom is 40-1.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Oh, I like this Forever Young 10-1. All right, might just go with that.
Yep. So yeah, again, to repeat, you can bet some of these head-to-heads if they're close in odds. That's what I like to do. It's how I would treat any race,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if someone's gonna win, but I would rather.
Frank, Epic Ride, man, 47-1.
As dead last. That's coming dead last.
That sounds like an epic ride to the ATM.
Epic Ride, dude, 47-1.
Yeah.
Sounds like the jockey's gonna fall off the horse, and after the first 10 yards.
The jockey, I don't see his name, but the trainer is John Ennis. So
Domestic product. I'm calling it now. That's your winner.
All right. I mean,
It speaks to me. speaks to you.
Again, I'm not going to pretend like I have any reads on this. I don't spend time on horse racing, but it's very fun to bet this. So just take a look of people you like, colors. Ask your girlfriend; they'll know. It's similar to brackets. You as much as you think about about this shit, you're not.
You really know nothing,
right? So you're not going to get it right. So like, don't go too crazy. Use all superstitious stuff.
I wonder what really motivates these horses. Like I know they're getting whipped, right? These savages are out there whipping these poor animals to go around this track as fast as they can. But what if they just like, man, I'm not up to it today. What enough oats? What enough apples? What enough carrots? I'm not going.
Yeah, your retirement is sick though. Like if you become a winner.
You're just a stud, right?
You're getting paid to have sex, like afterwards. Kind of sick. Like I don't know if they know that at that point, but like I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody knows how to speak the language of Mr. Ed, but yeah, man, sounds like a good retirement for those guys. So yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, those
shout out to retirement life of horses that race for a living. Be nice.
Okay, to close out the show, we can go through the best bets that we have. Again, I have 3 of them. I would do Nuggets -4.5, Rangers Royals over 8.5, Padres Diamondbacks over 8.5. Nuggets we talked about, but for the baseball picks, like both of them are centered around the pitching, like 4 or 5 ERA pitchers going up against each other. Padres Diamondbacks, they score a lot. Rangers Royals is a little bit of a flip for me. So just taking a chance there. So those are my picks. Josh?
Braves money line +154 against the LA Dodgers. This will be the Freddie Freeman Bowl, right?
Oh,
so it's always great when the Braves and the Dodgers get together. Hopefully we take care of business. So it's kind of a pick 'em. I think the spread is like 1 run, 1.5 runs, something like that. So yeah, go Braves. I have full faith and confidence that we're going to continue our winning ways and take care of the Dodgers.
Frank, you had one?
Yeah. My main one right now is just the Rangers to win the Cup +700. I know Josh hates it, but I'm a Rangers fan. And this +700, right, a month from now is going to be -160. Okay? So the +700 a month from now.
A month from now, Rangers won't be on the book, bro.
-160 a month from today. You're going to see the odds of the Rangers. So +700 is great value for the best team in the NHL. It should be +300. That's what I see, man. They're the best team in hockey. Other than that, I do have 2 other ones not on the board. Vegas money line for Game 7, and then Bruins Leafs under, also a Game 7. Those are 2 other picks you guys can fire in for NHL. They both seem pretty safe to me. I don't see the Stars beating the Knights in Game 7, and I don't see a lot of goals getting scored. Bruins Leafs for Game 7. It's going to be really, really tight. Both teams are going to be afraid to make a mistake. Those games always go under. So it's just kind of crystal clear to me.
Check it out, Frank, for your pick, man. And I know that we've talked about this in the past about trying not to fade each other's best bets. Okay. But there was I'm an 80s baby and I appreciate 80s music. And there was a band back in the 80s, a lot of hair, a lot of glam and glitz called Scorpions. They got a song called Rock You Like a Hurricane. And that's what's going to happen today, or excuse me, tomorrow when the Rangers and the Hurricanes get together. Maybe I'm so close to Raleigh right now, and I'm getting affected by the tropical storm that's starting to brew right now. It's not turned into a Cat 5 quite yet, But when that motherfucker gets to that warm water right here on the Atlantic and those Rangers come on down to North Kakalaki, it's going to be Petey Pablo. Take your shirt off, wave it around your head like a helicopter. You're going to be in the vortex of that hurricane, and we're going to take care of business. So go Canes. Frank, hate to see it. That will not be a value pick because they won't even be in the playoffs anymore.
And Andy, do you have one?
Oh no, I'm with you. I think the Nuggets take the first game, but I think this is gonna end in a 6-game series. I think it ends in. Yeah, I think Wolves win at home. I don't think. Yeah, so it's basically. I think they punt today. They'll take game 2, go back to Minnesota, and then win the next 2. So it's 3-1. Nuggets take 1 in game 5, and then come back to Minnesota for the for elimination game / closeout game. And I think the Wolves close it out there. I don't think you want to go to 7 here in that altitude. So agree with you there. I think today, and public is all over Minnesota, so that tells me he should take the Nuggets.
Fade them. But Andy, don't you think that it would be in true Anthony Edwards fashion to just like take it to 7? Like he's like the perfect heel. You go in there and just give him the good old crotch chop, in their place, and kind of solidify himself as the current GOAT in the NBA.
It's kind of like how people say like, oh, look at LeBron's averages in game 7s. Oh, look at how many points have he scored and all that. And it's like, well, there's not been that many game 7s that Jordan went to because he just swept them.
Sure, he did. He brought the brooms out. So
yeah,
maybe there is something to be said about that.
Yeah.
I could get behind that.
Yeah, Kobe, Shaq, how many game 7s did they have? Not many, because they would just fucking win 4-0, 4-1. That's how it's supposed to be if you're the true great team. I mean, obviously, you're not going to sweep the Nuggets. It's going to be very hard. But,
they got a guy named Joker that's going to try to make that very difficult to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I think game 6 in Minnesota, I mean, that's where you got to close it out in front of the home fans. Like if Edwards wants to be that guy, I would actually take the opposite of your stance and say he closes it out in front of the home crowd and does the celebration, and that place is gonna just unleash the pandemonium.
Okay, Naveen, how'd your T-Wolves, man? 6 games?
I would prefer 5 or 6, dude. I don't want to be getting.
I know you would prefer that.
Yeah.
What's the ticker? What's going on in here, man? What's that telling you?
I think we lose if it goes to 7. I think we have a chance if it goes to 6. That's
okay.
Yeah.
You gotta
win the one out of next 2. Yep.
So you got to steal one on the road and close it out at the house.
Yep.
Yeah.
Frank, since you're caught in the eye of the storm, man, I'm going to give you one more rebuttal. You good? You just going to let it pass over?
You know what might happen? Hurricanes might win 2 games to make you feel good, and the Rangers just stomp 4 games right down their throat.
That would be classic.
I'll leave it at that.
That'd be classic. I saw him. He was turning red down there in the corner. I was like, I got to give him. He was caught in the eye of the storm. Chaos was going around him there. So I just wanted him to be able to come in. I am a Predators fan. Bless my heart.
How many teams you got, Josh? What the fuck?
Hey, I've never said that I was a Hurricanes fan. I'm just trolling Frank, and my proximity to Raleigh here, just 40 minutes. See how I don't know, Frank would come at me with the slander of his beloved Rangers.
Rangers are winning, Josh. That's all it is.
All right.
That's it, man. It's going to be a tough matchup, but the Rangers get through it. They do. 6
Spoken
games.
like a true New York sports team fan.
Yeah.
Not based in reality. Here we go.
I mean, I think other than Minnesota sports fans, every fan, loves to just believe and believe.
That's the
So,
beauty of it. That's the
Yep.
beauty of it, fellas. But you can believe that next week we'll be back with another show. We've had great content today, great conversation. Believe that Anthony Edwards is going to continue to dominate the NBA playoffs. Believe that baseballs are going to go down to Florida today and take care of the Gators. And believe that the NHL playoffs might work out to be something, cataclysmic, almost like a storm brewing there in the playoffs between the Rangers and the Hurricanes. And you can believe that none of us know what we're talking about when it comes to Kentucky Derby. But we love you guys. Feel free to follow us on all of our social media accounts. Like, subscribe, do all that cool stuff. For Locky Top Sports, I'm your beloved co-host, Josh, Andy, Naveen, Iceman, Frankie. Thanks for being here today. Thanks for being anywhere. We love you. Locky Top Sports out. See you next week.
Go Balls.